So yeah, hello, good day. Where did we get to? Yeah. So we were looking at this seed library, seed framework, and the fact that we were stuck on a particular, a particular Git hash. We go to our cargo toml file. Yeah, so we have a particular hash we're using. Oh, I also fixed some things actually. That was, if we just get it closed. How can I sort? Yeah, newest, recently updated. So yeah, the subdomain was not working. We fixed that, which is great. And I think that might have been it. I think that's all that I've done outside of the stream. So let's have a look at this specific commit hash. So I create the ticket saying, yeah, stuck on this commit hash because I can't seem to get the latest version of seed working. And then we realized that actually there might be a bug or a change in behavior. And then created a ticket on David O'Connor's seed library. And he was quite pleased that we'd done a little bit of research into the problem, although I don't think we got it quite right. So he's found a slightly different place that the problem was introduced. And he's kindly even given a suggested workaround for the moment whilst they I'm not going to go through all of this, but they're clearly having a very in-depth chat on the expected behavior. So if I go back to here, he was kind enough to put that solution in an issue for us, so we should try it, right? We should probably change this back to, let's try 0.4.1. Let's just try 0.4 actually, and then it can just bring itself up to the latest minor version. Excuse me. So that's the dependency sorted, and we might need to change our render function. I think that's what he is suggesting. So, oh no, it's an init function that he's suggesting. So do we have an init function? No. All right. I think I'm going to have to learn something here. So just read his message actually. Were you able to make this work using an init function like this? Stopgap until we make a new release which has the improved syntax. Don't know. Let's just drop that in. And oh, I've got loads of stuff in my history from the other project that we were doing. What am I planning on doing today? Sorry, question in stream, in chat rather. So I'm hoping to upgrade, so get rid of this problem that we've got of being fixed on a slightly out of date version of the seed framework. And David O'Connor's given us a potential solution. So I think step one is get that sorted, or at least try. And then step two, we were looking at, so on, I think the formats page, we got these downloads working so that they were generated on the fly. You can kind of see those URLs. So I'm pointing at my screen, but you can't, that's not going to work. At the bottom there, in the very bottom left, it puts the data within the link itself, instead of having a file sat on S3 that we download. It's sort of generated on the fly for download. And I'd like to do the same for perfects because these are quite large. If I try and download, I mean, we don't even have the 51st perfect actually, but if I download the 50th, yeah, you can see there that's a 21 megabyte file. So if we can generate those on the fly, we'll cut down on our bandwidth use quite a bit. And it really will be a single page web app as well without having to go back to the server. So let's try this. Let's see if this builds. Am I in the right directory? Yeah, I've just done a pull as well to get the latest CloudFormation changes because we fixed the www subdomain. Let's see what happens. Okay, it breaks. Not entirely unexpected. Use dyn orders. So this is for function update. We go hide the roots function. Let's just minimize the stuff that we don't need to see. Here, okay. Oh, so we've even put in a 0.4.1 version. So, oh, no, did not mean to do that. So I can say this is for a specific hash, and let's grab what we had working for 0.4.1. And see if that now compiles. Okay, different error. Or is that the same error? Line 51. No, different error. No method named unwrap found for type message. This is on public enum message here. So, So on line 155, let's just check. We've definitely got the latest version of seed. I just want to make sure that that's definitely the case. So we can use cargo to clean out our dependencies. If only I could remember. I think it's cargo clean. Cargo clean. Could not remove build directory. Invalid argument. OS error 22. That's not what I was expecting. But curiously, it is still rebuilding everything. So maybe it couldn't get rid of the whole directory, but it got rid of the dependencies that were previously built. I'm not sure if we ever did fix that blue screen, which only seems to happen when we compile. So hopefully stability today. Have we already had seed come up in this list? Yeah, we have. Okay, so we can see that seed is at 0.4.1. No method named unwrap for type message. So it could not compile big primes. Okay, so it's got to be something to do with roots, he says. So this returns a message. So on their example, we go back to here, and we go to the seed homepage. Oh, I didn't mean to go to DuckDuckGo. I meant to go to seed RS. And hopefully this will have a reasonable example of this. So routing, yes please. So this returns an option message and not a message. So first of all, let's change our function definition. And and I'm not sure if any other changes are required actually. Let's see what happens. Ha, a few more errors. So on line 147. So again, app build, model, default, update, view. I think that's the same. Okay, so we're probably running the version that's correct for 0.4.1. When I say version, I mean that particular line. We're running a version that's... Hello, welcome to chat. I think... Am I using em scripton or unc? I don't know what either of those things are. Happy to learn though. Or have you made some things up? Let's see. So let's just go through these errors. There's quite a few of them. Expected standard option message because of return type. And then what we return is not quite right. So if you remember correctly, there was WASM32 unknown, and then unknown em scripton. So I think we are compiling to unknown to answer your question. What's the difference? As opposed to em scripton? Is there an advantage to one over the other? Or is it a use case thing? You wish you knew. Cool. All right. I'll. So that's so Rust WASM. Let's see what that brings up. And you said it was called em scripton. There's a Hacker Noon article on it. Okay, so we know something about the Rust language, but only enough to compile stuff. Install Rust. And then this just says run this SDK. But doesn't really give an answer as to why. Alright, yeah, it requires you to download a separate thing, but why? What is it? Scripton, let's try this one. Okay. Using it to compile whole programs, dynamic libraries. Okay, so this makes, okay, I think I'm beginning to understand. So unknown is when you want to essentially call your code from JavaScript by the sounds of it. And is this kind of like desktop? Okay, so it's a different tool chain. Sorry, I'm partly reading from chat for anyone watching and partly reading what's on the screen. Trying to learn as we go with this. So, yeah, is one of them a web runtime and one of them a local desktop runtime? Or is it genuinely just a different tool chain because someone wrote a different tool chain? Interesting. Okay, that is something that I will definitely look into a bit more. Thanks for letting me know about that. I'll put that over here with the other tabs that I said. I'm definitely going to look into that, and I haven't necessarily looked into all of them yet. I really want to play with this one. Windows System Linux 2. That should speed things up. Anyway, let's have a look at this wonderful compile error. Is there anything else? You mentioned, so it sounds like you've come across this Rust to WASM thing before. Have you used it for anything, or has it just been have you been sort of reading up on it and thought that's cool, or have you actually built something with it? I'm just going to go and have a look at do we define message up here anywhere, or is that something that we pull in? Is that a dependency? Where does message come from? It's an enum, okay. So the fact that it's an enum makes me wonder if I can find it in here somewhere. Wow, you've been working on a Game Boy Advance emulator. That's awesome. Very work in progress. Everything's work in progress until it's abandoned, right? Sometimes you call it done at some point along the way. That's amazing. Have you got if you want to share that at any point, if that's open source, that'd be really cool to look through. I'm sure I could learn loads from that. Oh wow, I need to get rid of that. I do need to stop the if anyone knows how to stop that from happening, right? So I don't know why, but what's it called? Streamlabs OBS. When someone posts a link, it just punishes by deleting every message they've sent, which is really harsh. And I keep turning it off, and I don't know why. It just sort of keeps coming back on again. So maybe be a bit creative when you post the link. Sorry about that. Yeah, so somewhere in this quick start, they are going to define message. Feels curiously similar to mine. So they've got their message defined. So let's have a look at this. What's this? Oh wow, it's still trying to do that. Hang on, I haven't got a second screen on this machine, but I'm gonna open up Streamlabs and see if I can. Oh, you've managed it. Okay, cool. It's now let you post. Cool. I'll take a look at that. Cheers. So yeah, let's figure out what's going on here. So returning message, change page. So expected enum option found an enum of message. So does it expect change page to be a thing and for that to return an option? Is that a function? No. The change page must be part of the framework, I guess. Not something that we define unless it's under utils. No, this is just our own stuff. Alright. So we're on the quick start. So prerequisites, structure. Unbelievable. Why is it that there's always one fly that appears on stream? Every like third stream, I think one makes it into this room. It wouldn't let you send it. Alright, sorry about that. Just do your GitHub username or something, and I'll find it that way. Sorry that the bot is going mad. I will maybe Tom says maybe it's this, or Tomarov says maybe it's the same flight. It could be. You know, I'm permanently haunted by an immortal insect. That's terrifying. Actually, that's not. No, it's not that. Yeah, let's blame the fly. Let's do that. Right, what am I doing? I keep this is loads of fun. I keep sidetracking this. So have we got the message defined on here or something else? No, that's an enum. We've got derived clone. We know that's the same. I don't think that's going to have changed here. Maybe I wonder if I go to the repo, is there a chance that they've got a unreleased version? There's 0.4.1 still. Maybe there's a change here. The root now accepts URL instead of ampersand URL. I think we solved that one. Expected enum option. All right, let's figure out how to define an option. Let's do that. Rust option. Oh, good. It didn't come up with rusty cars or junkyards. This is getting more useful. Okay, so pattern match to retrieve the value, return value, options and pointers. So option represents an optional value. Every option is either some or none. Okay, so we think that means change page should either return a some or a none. What's the... How can I do that within an enum? Maybe I can't. Maybe it has to be within the change page function. Expected as a standard option, but it found an enum. That's what it's returning. Okay, so the other thing I could do is I could modify... Can I click that? Control click? Yes, that's cool. Right. So this could return a match. In fact, look, this is returning a match. Oh, I see. This was actually broken. I didn't realize. And so these will return some or none. No, that doesn't make sense. Is this the joy of streaming? They don't even mention the link blocking in their docs. No. No. No, I could very quickly open up the Streamlabs thing and have a look around the options, but I don't think that's going to make for good viewing whilst we collectively get frustrated on probably seeing that it's disabled and not realizing why it's still happening. I probably need to, I don't know, there's probably some cache to be reset somewhere. I have no idea. Okay, so I'm struggling with this one, but we're going to get there. So line 102. Right here. Cheers for the PM, Tom. Thank you. Just seen that come up. Line 102. So is this saying we need to return an option because we're saying we're going to return an option? In which case, we need to define an option. So we either need to return none or some. So does that mean I can just wrap this in some? Is that what we're saying? So previously we were getting an error on line 102, this function roots. Oh no, 97 function roots. scroll up through these many errors. 97. So that, okay, so that's a different line. This is 109 now. So this is saying we need to be returning some. This feels, I don't know, this feels hacky. I feel like I'm doing something here that's not a good idea. Pyro 240. You said yes. I don't know what the answer was for some is the right way as far as you know. Okay, so it's all right. That's not hacky. I was worried that this was a bit, I don't know, just doing what the compiler tells me, but in the like the most basic way. I didn't know if there was a smarter way of doing this, but if you're happy, I'm happy. And hello, yeah, welcome back. Nice to see you again. Expected enum found message line 112. We can probably guess that this is going to happen a few more times. So just seems like a lot of effort. Should this be, well, that's curious. Yeah, should this be, yeah, okay, let's just keep doing this. Let's get it to compile and work, and then we can make this a little less verbose, because I feel like these lines are just getting longer and longer. I think it's probably going to moan about line 124, but there's only one way to find out. Yep. Yep. Okay, so put that in there. To do, add an archive page. Have I not done that? I need to go through the to-dos at some point. I've just been going through the tickets. I assume we can't do something mad and just put like a sum around this entire match statement. Could we do that? Is that less hacky? Yeah, why not? Alright, I'm going to Control Z, Command Z for Mac users. Let's do that. I feel like that's going to cause me less something. Oh, I've got a feeling I might have upset. Oh. So that should go there. So this match, I'll just put them the wrong way around. Simple. Let's see what happens. Well, that's a little bit better. Expected enum message found. So this is still happening within roots. Expected, but it found an option. So within roots, we're saying we're expecting an option to be returned, and we're expecting to pass in a URL. And then it gives a note. Expected type is function cgrl message, but it found this. You don't see the need for option. What, as in we could take, well, no, not that we could take it out of the definition, but you think take it out of the definition? The thing is, I put it in the definition. Why did I put it in the definition? Let's take it out. Let's see what happens. And I need to disable that poll as well. then it complains about the unwrap, and of course it can't have an unwrap because there's no option. So maybe actually we just get rid of the unwrap because there's no option. Well, that looks a bit better. That looks a lot better. So I changed a lot of stuff actually unnecessarily. Thank you for your help and emotional support during that time. There we go. So what's this complaining about? Dead code. Well, hang on, what? How can that be dead code? This was the one we added. So do we need to specify, maybe in this chain of things here, we're meant to specify that it should run an init? Is that a thing? So where would I find that in their examples? And why did I search on the options page? That's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's go back to their seed.rs thing and spelling it right. So I'll just check all the pages. No. No. Yeah, it might be in miscellaneous features. Custom tags, local storage, markdown and raw HTML. No, that's more about sort of what we're rendering rather than what's this? With Mouse and Pack directly to run individual tests. Firefox headless. Interesting, I'll come back to that. Okay. Let's go back to the repo. See if we can figure out what this init thing is, where it comes from. I could just guess, right? Let's presume somewhere in here we should do an init. And then I guess I specify init. Yeah, what do you know? Private field, not a method. Probably. Does that need to be? Oh, hang on. It's saying it's a private field. It's not a method. So it's not something that we can call. So this error is going to be exactly the same, irrespective of whether that's a private or public function. Because yeah, roots is a private function. So maybe it's not called a init. It could be called initialize or something like that. Where are we going to find that? So we've got routing, finish, run. Search for routing in here. So they've got a module called routing. So if I go back, so under source, yes, they've got a module called routing, but they don't have a module called init or initialize or anything like that. I guess it could be that init is an argument. Ah, you voted for Game of Life. Yeah, what I'm going to do with this stream is I'm going to get as far as we can, or until we lose the will to continue with this. Get as far as we can trying to upgrade this dependency, and then maybe add a few, like ditch some of those downloads and change them for on-the-fly downloads. Then probably switch to some more Game of Life programming. I think I've got around the issue that I ran into last time on stream with that, so we will get there. So yes, this seed app build. So build must be a function. It's structure under initializing. Structure under initializing. I'm not sure what you mean. It sounds like you found what I need, which is awesome, but I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, think I see. So you're saying on the CDRS website. So just to let everyone know the problem that, or the reason this is happening, or the reason we're trying to do this, there's build. There's maybe a, I don't know, 1 in 10 chance that this will blue screen when it builds. So if so, you know, hang tight. I'll be back in a minute. Maybe 1 in 20. And I'll just show you the actual bug. "89 of 98, 90 of 98. "95. Oh, of course. I can't show you the bug because I've put some random code in. Let's save that. Recompile. It'll do it a bit quicker this time. Yeah, there we go. Most of those are cached. Oh. Huh. Hasn't cached very many, has it? As soon as that hits 98, I'll spin up a little web server. Code in Rust, they said it. Compile fast, they said. I tell you what, right, so to be fair, my code is quite small, compiles nice and fast, but I've just got an absurd number of dependencies with this. Actually, no, I guess 98 is not too bad. It's not like the world of Node where you're pulling in, you know, 50 million lines of code. I'm not saying you always pull in 50 million lines of code. I'm not hating on Node, by the way. Okay, so I think we should have a local web server. So this works, right? This is good news. We have a working page. And if I go to, say, the formats page, the URL changes, it loads up format. But the bug is, if I go directly to the format page, it loads up the home page. So it doesn't do the routing, right? So this was the bug that I reported to them, which I think was a change in functionality that hadn't been, I guess, fully considered. So this is the bug. So you were saying in structure, under initializing, it does it like that. So when you say in structure, so that's a tab on CDRS, right? That must be. Yeah, so I think, let me just find. Where's render? Render. Oh, there it is. New model default. So I see. So if this was init instead, get rid of that silly line at the same time. Then we suspect that might build. No, function or associated item not found. Oh, hang on. Default. Or get rid of all of that and call init. Affected 2 parameters. Of course it did. Of course it did. We were supposed to specify a URL. What was there before? We were supposed to specify a URL. So does that mean roots? And not sure what orders is. Sorry, just catching up with chat. You think just use build init? Okay. So what's this? Does anyone know what this syntax means? I have absolutely no idea. That looks like it's like a blank, and literally saying I don't want to pass anything. I don't want to pass anything. So is that the equivalent of passing none? It's a closure. Okay, this is where I should taking two parameters. Oh yes, because of the bars. And I'm not using them. Okay, so what's the purpose of it here? So in this case, you're saying it's not being used, so we just put a blank in. So would we, instead of this, hang on, let's hit. Are we saying that? How does this relate to the model, or does it not? So this is. Oh, I see. So this is the closure definition, and then this is what's inside the closure. I'm talking to chat for anyone that's wondering. Because clearly DeIkita97 knows what he's talking about. I see. I understand now. I think I understand. So instead of having this whole thing is the closure, so we do that. Cool. Okay, understood. Expected function once, blah 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 blah, closure found model. Does it need to be a closure? We're out without the parenthesis. Oh, of course. Thank you. This is brilliant. This is like pair coding where this is not even pair coding at this point. This is more guided programming. And it compiled. This is exciting. Let's see. Is it fixed? That looks tremendously fixed. Brilliant. That's fantastic. Okay, so that was a combination of David O'Connor giving us a snippet to use. Thank you, David. That I wouldn't have got there. And yeah, DeIkita97, thank you ever so much. Who knows how long I would have been scratching my head on that one. I don't know why that line's there. I'm not, it's not part of this commit, so I'm just going to leave it. So what did we change after all of that? So in 0.4.1, that can go. Okay, so that can go. We don't need that faff. I think we're there. I think this might be committable. Okay, good. That was part one of two parts of what we're going to do on this. Let's have a look. Get status. Git diff just to check. So our seed library's gone from a specific version to a specific hash, sorry, a specific commit to the latest 0.41. Great, thank you everybody. I say everybody, thank you DeIkita97 and Pyro240. Cool, so that's good. Yeah, that's good. Dependencies at 0.4 will auto update the latest minor versions. We changed some function definitions. Oh, look, when I see them side by side, it looks so obvious now. But yes, I would not have got there very quickly at all. And we've added the init function. So I think we can wrap this into seed now 0.4 4.1. And yeah, what was here before? Was it the model? Yeah, default model bug. Fixed. I say fixed. Worked around. Thankfully provided by David. Put in place by DeIkita. Right. Oh, what happened there? Oh, I need to go up a directory. One of those, please. So now, oh no, don't type up there. So now, get status, get push. Hang on. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I've just committed to master. Oh dear. Amateur. I need like a second person on this project that can approve my commits or approve my pull requests, and then I can stop. I can untick that dangerous box that lets me commit to master. Well, that's going to deploy, right? Whether we like it or not, that's going to deploy. So hopefully it doesn't break things when it does. Let's just grab the latest commit hash. This one. And the reason I'm doing that, because I want to go back to here and say implemented in this. Huh. Is that not how you commit? No. Alright, GitHub. How do we link to specific hash? Ugh, typing. When people are watching. Without the hash, really? Thank you. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because it can verify that there is a hash. Yeah, thank you. Cool, okay. So, we need to see... So this is the live site. Oh, hang on, did I switch to the live site during my testing? No, we had this, Yeah. Let's close that. Thanks for, I think that was a follow. Thanks for the follow. Let's have a look at. We're going to need this. We don't need the local host. That can go. But we're going to need to check that this deploys in a minute. We are also going to need to check that this is actually deploying. So if we head back to the main page here and we go to the build, crack that open in another screen. Oh no, we're not signed in. Is it going to be quick? Oh, it is quick. Good. As long as it doesn't require me to go through, typing out passwords and other stuff. So this is going to take like 10-12 minutes. So I vote we don't just sit and watch this on stream. Let's have a look, get status. Fine. It'd be better, I think, if I actually branched out this time. But let's pick a second issue to work on. I don't want to do dependency audit. This would be quite a cool one, but I think it'd be a bit boring to do on stream. So Rust has recently come out with this thing where you can automatically check if any of your dependencies have security issues or if they've been abandoned, which is, I think, important, very important. So this we think is maybe fixed now. This I think I looked at and just decided it wasn't possible, so I'm not sure why that's still open. Suspect the correct wasn't build. I mean, what was I trying to do? I think I've probably removed. Oh no, okay, so it's on this. This branch is one commit ahead. I don't care about this issue at the moment. It's not going to be fun. Let's pick a more interesting one. All text downloads on the site should be procedurally generated. Ah, yes. There's this primes page, not primes. This perfects page. We were saying with these massive 20 meg downloads, we could probably fix this. Genuinely, it saved me many pence of bandwidth costs per month from AWS. AWS's bandwidth is still super expensive. I can't remember the last time they dropped the price of that. They ever drop the price of their bandwidth? Archive. Perfect. Okay, what's going on here? We've got... Okay, well, at least we've got a struct for these perfect numbers, and they... Doesn't that look nice? And then it goes through a render function, which chucks out a HTML row. And we're linking to a text and a zip file. The first thing I reckon is the zip files can go. Like we don't need the zip files. Let's get ourselves on a decent branch. Get branch. I mean, I'm just gonna leave that on screen for a second. I actually typed that. Let's fix that. Get branch. I want to call this perfect downloads. Cool. Cool. All right, we're now on a branch. Let's delete some stuff because I honestly we don't need the zip file. That can go. And then I guess we don't need this if statement either. All we're going to do is have a text download. And let's have a look at the local version of that. I reckon this one's going to be quick because we've already got this download feature working on another page. Pyro says instead of the vector into the iterator collect, I think you could use format. Well, that might be a significant tidy up. Let me just check I haven't broken this local test. Refresh. Okay, so now these will just say text, and of course these are going to 404 because we don't have text downloads for numbers that large, only the smaller ones. And let me commit this. So git commit. All this removed zip downloads. Yeah. Technically the downloads are still there, just remove the links. Okay, that's committed. Good stuff. And your suggestion was all of this is potentially overkill. So you reckon use formats. There's a macro called format. Rust format macro. There we go. Creates a string using interpolation of runtime expressions. So we received a format. This must be a string literal. All right, so we got a string literal. Oh, I see. That's a bit nicer, isn't it? It's the same thing as print. Oh, okay. What does print do? Does that return or does that do something weird and wonderful on the command line? Sprintf. Alright, let's try format. So you reckon that this would be much nicer we specify, so we've got our initial string, and then we put in some placeholders, right? So one of those. I feel like I need to explain why I'm finding it so hard to type. So my keyboard has letters for QWERTY and Dvorak, and at the moment I'm typing QWERTY, and it means every time I look at my keyboard, my brain gets confused. So moral of the story, pick one and don't put stickers on your keyboard. So second argument would be that, and we don't need the third argument. This ceases to become... Yeah, I think that's right. Oh no, there's one thing missing. So vector still needs that, I think. If that compiles. There, what did I get wrong? I got something wrong. You reckon without the vector? Oh, of course, because it's start. Well, we might... No, you're right, we don't need the vector. You're right. And it will compile. Alright, so we can do that a couple of times. Oh, that's much better. I'll do the same for the equation as well, right? Thanks for the follow. So that's thank you to, I think that's Algol and Joiner for following. And thanks to, I think that's Nils IRL. You're in real life. Oh, how is it there? Is it good? Get rid of all of those. Oh, this is less fun. So I think, did it again. I think we want parenthesis for this first argument. Then this doesn't need to be a second argument. So it goes, then that's there. Oh, this is, I accept that this is much shorter. I also accept it makes my brain hurt. Oh, there we go. I think we've made it. We're at the end of that journey. It is satisfying, yeah. Thank you for suggesting that. That's nicer. Just gonna appreciate that for a moment. And check out my local build as well. Where's that? Local test. Let's refresh. So we didn't break anything, that still works. We need to recompile because I changed that second line. And that refresh, that still looks right, I think. If I compare it to prod, if I compare it to production, the only thing that changes is the zip and the text links. So that's really nice. Cool, I can use that on some other pages as well. Let's commit that. Feeling lazy, I'm going to go up and just change a commit link. Commit link, commit message. There we go. Yeah, now using format. Good stuff. And I'll push this and it'll complain because we need to set our upstream. I saw a fix for this. Someone tweeted a one-liner that allows you to do that. Then I forgot about it and didn't implement it. And that's a true story. Full of those. So what are we actually doing? That's much nicer, but we were going to do, and we got rid of the zip download, but we were going to implement this thing here, save as file. So, and I think for some reason I decided that needed to go into a utils library. I wonder why. Oh, well, perfect is already in a utils library. Let's not break with convention. So we've now got a save as file. Text. Hey, look, it's another one of those things. I'm not going to change that just yet. I'm going to get it working, and then we can look at that. Utils, the dump of every project, the dumpster of every project. I mean, maybe it can be both, right? Just depends on your scale. So I'm in the UK, and a dump here is a vast wasteland, normally filled with rubbish. That's what we mean by that, usually. Whereas dumpster is a small, it's a large bin. It's a very large bin, industrial bin. Anyway, so is this a dump or a dumpster? Let's get this save as file working. So I copied it in. I did my very basic coding there, copying and pasting, and I must have done something with save as file, right? So I think we're going to run into a really interesting problem on this page. Tom Ross says, I'm seeing a straw poll. What do you mean? Oh, I see. There's a straw poll on how bad the code is. Cool. Take it in my stride. HTML push. So somewhere we've got one of these. Right, let's create a second text download so that we can compare the two. Huh. That must have had a TD wrapped around it, because at the moment that is a... Yeah, that's not right. I'm going to change that. That would be slightly buggy. So that says format utils, of course, where I've just copied and pasted stuff. So this is download file name. I think we should rename that because it's a file name. Well, no. Download text, but download file name is something different. That's going to be... Look at these vectors and iterators. Now you've shown me that. That's it. I can't unsee it. It's everywhere in my code and it has to go. But we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Download file name. So it's a good point. So those downloads still work. Oh no, this is the live site anyway, but this is okay, so it's just perfect/20.txt. And I guess, yeah, fine, perfect/32.txt. So I guess we could take format. We could do that and get rid of most of this. We can just, I kind of want to just put the letter P in front of it. Perfect. Let's see what that does. No, it breaks. So, oh, that's just wow, loads of stuff broke. Use of undeclared type on module E1. Do what? Is that because I'm using... Ah, it's because I'm using the macro for the link macro in perfect utils, and I bet I've included... Yeah, here we go. So under format utils, I included a couple of things. Now I need to do the same under perfect utils, and I've got a feeling it's going to be a little happier. Just a bit happier. Failed to resolve use of undeclared type of module perfect utils. Singular versus plural. Is that because I didn't want to claim that these utils were perfect? That's fine. We can fix that. Let's just put an S in there. One last error. Perfect value not found in this scope. Okay, so we need to come up with a value which... Okay, so we can just bit of copy and paste. Just take this perfect value. And this is not true because this is how you get a format number. This is not how you get a perfect number. So we now this is where last time it all got a bit overcomplicated and it didn't need to. So we're taking the power of 2, which by the way is not actually specified here, so we need to grab that. So we're using this big int library, which means the numbers can be absurd. Why is RLS not working? That is a very good question. That's a very, very good question. Why is RLS not working? No new notifications. Can I have the old notifications? Well, how about I close and reopen VS Code? And then let's see if we get a message. So it's opening up in Windows System Linux. Nightly toolchain is not installed. Yeah. Tom says, "What's RLS?" So it's I don't know, Rust something. It would mean that we'd get real-time syntax, or not syntax, real-time compile errors actually highlighted in the code, rather than me having to. Pyro says it could be real-life syndrome. Yes, that's probably right. So Nils IRL says it's the Rust language server. That would make sense. Anyway, so Rust up toolchain install nightly. Command not found. Well, I see what you're saying, but I disagree. Everyone bear with whilst the stream probably gets fairly mashed by this download. It's going to take forever. Is it? Like, genuinely, is this going to be like gigs and gigs of data? Well, whilst that's doing its thing, let's carry on. Where did we get to? So we were starting to format this. So we were saying 2 to the power of, there's a +1 going on there. I think we want a -1. Do sup. Turn that into a minus. Instead of nth format, we probably want nth perfect. Okay, so that did a thing. Could not install toolchain. I put it to you that we did. So let's try restarting this. Did you see that? Like my brain just froze there. Like, what icon am I clicking? What color should it be? Blue. Is it trying to run this on Windows? Is this the problem? Is it saying RLS is not installed because it wants to run on Windows? And I can do that. I can install it. I'm just probably going to have to install it from a PowerShell. So let's hit yes. Let's watch it complain. But no, because that's running... Curious. So, Joiner, you're saying use Rust source instead of Rust analysis. So just run this bit and change that to be SRC. Thank you, by the way, for any input. Close this. Close, close, close. Quit. There we go. You don't use WSL? No. Who would be mad enough to do that? What could possibly happen? That's already up to date. The other thing I could do is I could just take the component, the extension rather, and disable. Then reload required. Don't know if this is going to fix it, right? But sometimes turning things off and then on again, never a bad strategy. Well, I can think of a few things where it'd be a bad strategy, but enable. Yes, please. Please reload Visual Studio. Okie dokie. I suspect we're going to get the same thing. Might be a WR, and then this will go and do this again. Curious. Okay, I'm stuck on that, so I'm going to leave that. But yeah, that was working. It's a good point. That was working fine up until some point. So I could check. All these streams end up on YouTube, so maybe later today I'll just check back and see at what point it breaks. Use my YouTube videos as a really crude form of a Git hash, right? No, don't do that. Let's compile this. It's all blown up. Probably because it doesn't know what imperfect is, right? Oh, before that, it's not found in the scope. So I have not included the library. Where is it? The crate, rather. Yeah, so these need adding. Simple enough. We can add those. And let's recompile. You reckon try rust up component add RSL rust analysis. So previously, interesting. IS. Yeah, so that's installed. Anyway, not found in this scope. So yeah, now we're back to hey, nth perfect doesn't mean a thing. So we need an nth perfect, which we can. That's seems simple enough. Let's run that. Yeah, no, thanks for pointing it out. I'd sort of blindly just continued manually typing that command. No one wants to do anything manually. That's why we're here, right? Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and say that probably didn't go as I planned. 12. Can I have the error console? Oh, actually, maybe this did go as planned. I reckon that is currently chewing through processing cycles. Like, decimating. No, it's not. No, it's not 8%. It's doing a little bit. 6%. I can't remember how many cores this has got. That could be one core, like 1/16. Not sure. There, okay. So let's graciously exit the page. I reckon instead of going to perfect len, we should note out almost all of these just to see if we can get it working. Because I reckon what it's doing is, yeah, trying to pre-calculate all of those potentially quite vast download links. Try that. Okay, so that's the big primes download. We can compare these, the existing one. That's the existing one. That's wrong. That is definitely wrong. Now the question is it wrong because this should begin 994. I don't think any of these. Sorry, I know the font is like super tiny at the bottom of this. Just seeing if any begin with 9999. No. So must be that our equation's wrong, which kind of makes sense, right? Okay, so we are taking the power, so 2 to the power of, wow, whatever this is, I guess. So should, so I think this should be 2 to the power of this. This is going to be an unpleasant function to look at. So I'm going to tidy it up in a second. So I think that's the first half of the equation times, that's not times, that's just an x. This is already making my head hurt quite a bit. So times 2 to the power of a thing, which is here, which I'll change in a second because that's currently wrong, minus 1. So minus 1. There's a wrong thing that I need to fix, and I'm gonna sort these out as well because I don't like the fact that we're doing 2 function calls on the back of a digit. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, so this bit's going to be wrong because that should be perfect n dot p, not p minus 1. Let's see if that compiles. No. Okay. But maybe just because I got my types a bit mashed. Expected a U size, but found U64. That's fine. We could probably typecast that, I think. that's because these are going to be U64s. Yeah, so these are U64s up in this struct. So can I call a .to function on that? So expected a U size but found U64. So can I do to U size thing? Items from traits can be used if the trait is in scope. So we need to use the num traits to primitive. We go back up to here. We need to specify to primitive. That'll probably get rid of at least one of those errors. Standard option U size. Okay, so that has returned an option, so we need to unwrap it on the presumption that it's a result and not an error, or a none, or something. I'm well aware that this is horrible. I just want to get this to compile, check if it works, then we can. Maybe we should break it down first. Actually, this might be a bit much. What's the size in this case? It's a good point. So we're compiling to WebAssembly, right? So, and that ultimately that's going to run in the browser. And as far as I know, that's always got 64-bit available. So converting from 64-bit to 64-bit should be okay. I suspect I could change U size to U64. Oh, hang on, we're not far off this being right, actually. Expected U size, but found U size. So if I ditch that. Remove these parentheses. Yeah, good point. Good point, well made. And then we've just got this same problem. So kind of want to take all of this and create another variable. I nearly said function, it's not a function. Let's just say p equals and the type on that is probably going to be U64, I reckon. So we can take all of that and replace it with a single letter, which makes me feel better. We take all of that and replace it with a single letter. So in this case, it expected U size, found a U64, but we convert it to U size. Oh, okay, yep. Isn't WASM 32-bit? That is that's a very good point. We are targeting 32-bit in our if I look in Travis, why can't I find Yeah, you're right. You're very right. We're checking against WASM 32. That's interesting then. So what on earth does it do with these 64-bit integers? Because I'm using them throughout the code and they're working. So it must be doing some potentially quite slow conversion. So let's download this. So now we're looking at P17 again. Begins with 994. I think that's right. Well, what do you know? And it ends with 951. Oh. So close. Not two numbers in here or something, is there? It's just wrapping. Word wrap. Yeah. How can that start off correct and then become very, very wrong? That suggests the number it's... Okay, so what else could we do? So we've got 2 up here. Why don't we just do this? I do that. Is that okay? This might be too much. Doing a single line. So this would become a big int at this point. I know this is not fixing the current problem, but it's just making this easier to understand, and then we can fix the current problem. Value used here after a move, value moved here. Interesting. Oh, I guess previously we were probably passing it as a clone or an owned or something. Is this too hacky? Too owned? A bit hacky. Borrowed here after move. I'll put it back. I'll put it back. Thanks for the follow. Thank you very much. Cloned. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I could, so just clone it in place instead of cloning it. Yeah, actually. Is it clone or is it? I think that gave me a. That. Let's give that. Ah, what am I doing? There we go. Yeah, clone. Value borrowed here. Okay, does it need it on both? Probably needs it on both. Alright, live with that. It's a bit easier. So we can even look at this. So you know what I could maybe do? So power 2 cloned to p minus 1. So in this case, p would be 17. Would it? That's a very good point. Is it just the n would be 17, but p would be something quite different. So on the 17th one, 2281. So okay, so that makes sense. So we're taking 2, we're bringing it to the power of this particular prime minus 1. Then we're timesing it by 2 to the power of, I mean, basically it should just be 1 more. Instead of 2280, it's 2281. So that just becomes p instead of p minus 1. So that makes sense. Then we take this, I bet it's a brackets. It's a bracket thing, isn't it? Maths. Very hacky. Oh, what, the clone? The clone is hacky, is it? Let's get it working and then we can make it less hacky. So that we can stand next to our, what do we call it? A dump or a dumpster? We can stand next to this code dumpster. Refresh. A little while to download. 5776. Okay, we've got this. We've actually got this working. Okay, good. So my next conundrum will probably be related to speed. Let's see how far we can go before we run into speed issues. And then I'm particularly interested in your very hacky comment, Joiner. Let's make it less hacky. I'm very happy to do that. Okay, so what are we up to now? 5, maybe 10 seconds. So this doesn't scale very well. So I think we can't pre-generate these links. We are definitely going to have to... Wow, this is still going. Let's move this down a bunch. What was it on, like 17 before? Let's move it back down to like 25. No, exit the page. This site can't be reached. I know. Now it can. Okay, so that works reasonably quick. So let's go from 24 to 30. Consider prefixing with an underscore nth perfect. Are we not using nth perfect? I need to check that. Okay, so that takes, I think that took a second or two, and this is not a slow machine. So if somebody was browsing this on their web phone, I don't want to chew through 30% of their battery. And these numbers get significantly larger. So the fact that we've made it to 30 in a second would probably mean, you know, given the size of the numbers we're jumping to, so that's basically 2 to the power of 132,000, and this is going to be 2 to the power of 82 million by the time we get to the 51st perfect number. That's going to melt some silicon. That's really going to melt some silicon. So let's make things less hacky, then let's come back to the speed. What was your suggestion? Can I pass reference to power? Can I pass references? Very good question. That would be nice. Let's do that first of all here. No. Well, the traits, number traits 1 is not implemented. Yeah. I don't know quite what that means. So there's a trait 1 that's not implemented for big U int. So we've decided, is there anything else we could do to speed this up? There's nothing that we can reuse between loops, is there? I feel like this number is so close. All we need to do is basically times it by 2. Why don't we do that? I'm gonna say let first power is probably the, where does the pow come from? What do you mean? As in what trait? Not trait. Where? So yeah, sorry, that comes from the num trait crate. Really wanted to say that. But it doesn't come from here. So that's a good point. I wonder if begin has a power method. I've got a feeling that when we looked at this before, a couple of weeks back, the general consensus was that we can use the power function from the regular num traits, and there isn't one implemented in BigInt. Num traits pow. I'm gonna see if I can double the speed of this, just, and that might also fix this problem at the same time. Might. So let power. No, let's call it power. I don't know what type it should be. I think it should be a big U int. Oh, I have no idea what buttons I pushed there. Oh, I think I see. I must have copied something that was the whole line. So that's p minus 1. Yeah. So aren't you doing 2 times and then 2? Yeah, exactly. So I think so yeah, we are. You're right. But this bit here and this bit here, the only difference is an extra power of 2. So I think if we just hang on. Yes. So I think if we just times whatever the result of this is by 2, then that gives us this answer, and then we just take away 1. And you're saying it would make sense doing 2 to the power of x. No, y equals 2 to the power of x. You've lost me. I'm just going to continue with this train of thought though, and then I'll try and catch up. Because I think we can just do power that times power. I think we can just do times 2 there. That will probably speed this up. We need to check it's not broken. Incorrect closure. No, incorrect close delimiter. Probably because I ditched one of those. And also we need to take that minus, well, no, that's not incorrect, is it? We want that over there. There we go. Well, it is incorrect because I missed the opening thing. No implementation for I32. Probably because you want me to use that. Value moved here. So because I'm using... So can I use borrow like this? Could I make these both borrowed? I've got a feeling no, because they're in the same function. Huh, maybe. Can't move after a borrow. Yeah. So, and are we? So what do you? Oh, this is Rust doing its thing, and me failing to understand Rust. So I understand, like the hacky way of dealing with this would be to add a clone. And in fact, that probably means that would be the hacky way of dealing with this, right? Oh, Pyro, sorry, you got your messages deleted. Oh, that's harsh. I do need to bring that bot under control. So, not long actually. If I get a few more followers, I can start assigning VIPs, and then you won't be. Then the bot can't do anything. Unused variable nth perfect. Fine. How is that? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Fine. Let's recompile that. Value borrowed here after move. So 2.clone. So this still needs to become a .clone. This is so hacky. I think you've just sent me a nice way of fixing this. Oh, okay, you check to see if the power function supports borrowing, and it doesn't. And Pyro, you were saying that we can clone the number 2 because it's not a big deal. That's true. It's not like we're cloning a massive object or something. That's very true. Refresh. Can't tell if that was faster. let's have a look and see if it's right. I mean, that's important. Look at that tiny number. We just generated that on the fly. And it starts off correct. Let me just scroll. We'll be there in a minute. Just scrolling. And it ends with 50016. Oh, I'm not going to scroll. I'm just drag. Wow. Okay, so this still works, and we probably have just doubled the speed of it. Which is good, but not brilliant. Let's bump this up to here so we can really start to see this slow down. Yeah, so 4 or 5 seconds so far. A little while. And that was going from 30 to 33. Which is at least, what's that? That's like 15 times as many calculations. So if we were saying it was taking a second or two, this could take like 30 seconds. Let's knock this down at least 1. I don't think that's going to come back. Just check if the 216 digits match. Yeah, I'll just check if they match. Yeah, quick glance. Right, let's just let this catch up for a second. So this is either going to load or it's going to error after about 30 odd seconds once Chrome's figured out that what happened there? Was that a JavaScript error? No, it's this. If we killed the browser, I think we might. Oh no, it's caught up, sort of, kind of. If I go to perfect, it's not even updating this to say what's going on. Performance. That could be pretty cool, actually. Blue screen incoming. Yeah, don't. It could happen. Although I think I never seem to get a browser-related blue screen. It's always to do with compiling. Always. Don't know why. Join us. You're saying the correct way would be to implement an iterator. Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, each time. Yeah, that's a really good shout. We're basically just building on the result from last time. So we could... I see what you're saying. By the time we've got to like N31, we've already done half the number of calculations required to figure out the answer. And save the previous result. I see. I feel like doing that in like pure Rust might be painful because at the moment we're really heavily relying on the power function, and even then, I think we can probably agree that the first 20 of these are just trivial, and we're doing, let's say we're doing 700,000 calculations here. Then jumping from 32 to 33 only requires a little bit more effort. But by the time you've got up to 35, we've still doubled the number of calculations we've had to do, and we're nowhere near the top of the list. So it might just be that this is going to be too slow. Can't do all of this on the fly. But I take your point that we could speed it up further. We could definitely speed it up further. I'll tell you what we should do, just momentarily, not to get sidetracked, but should we check we didn't take down the main website? Let me hard refresh that, go to formats, hard refresh that. Okay, this still works, good. The reason I say that is because we had this Travis thing going on, right? where I had accidentally pushed directly to master. Seems to be good. Seems to have deployed. Just check, see what the log looks like. Compiled a bunch of stuff. Did some S3 uploads. Deleted a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think we probably didn't break everything. I wonder what we can do in the browser here. Start profiling and reload the page. This is pretty cool. You know what we could do as well? I think it's probably presumptuous of us to assume that someone is going to come to this page and just whack the microphone. I think it's probably I'm presuming that someone's coming to this page and they're going to download something, but sometimes they won't. Sometimes I'll just click around on a few links to make sure the page works. But I wonder if we could have it so that when you click the link at that moment, it begins crunching the number for you, and maybe we can even handle it in a nice way. So, we're crunching this number for you, bear with. This might take 30 seconds. And I think if they're expecting a large download, they might be okay with that. Cool, what is all of this? So this is time in milliseconds. Okay, which seems to cap out at 3.5 seconds. So run some stuff, go through Webpack. Run the render function. This is pretty cool. Run the view, get into the pages, which I'm guessing it probably does. Does it tell me how many milliseconds in? It gets to this. Now this is broken down into individual things. What are these? These could be the... I don't know what these are actually. I was going to hypothesize these could be the individual numbers being crunched as they get progressively larger. Oh no, but there's a large one there followed by a small. Yeah, this could be interesting if I understood it. I feel like this would be good for debug purposes later on. Okay, so your suggestion, very good suggestion, was to save the previous result. And as we iterate through this, the thing is, what would we do? We would take the previous... We would take the previous number and we would take the previous prime, and then we would know the current prime and we'd know how many times we need to multiply it by 2. I feel like that's probably going to be slower than the power function, but I have no way of immediately testing that. And this is going to definitely make this a more complicated page to understand. I still like it. It's a good solution. Good way of doing it. The other way, of course, is to just do the download when we click. But how would we do that? We'd have to... We'd have to have a function that we call... Oh, it just occurs to me, actually, I don't think I've done this before in WebAssembly. We would have to have... We're effectively going to ask it to run a JavaScript function on click, yes. Let's put another one of these in. It's going to be quite a simple one. So this is the third one. And I feel like onClick must be deprecated. I don't know why I think that. It's been a while since I've used that. Is that HTML5 onClick? Is that a thing? That must still be a thing. Actually, I don't know why I thought that was deprecated. Alright, so it is a thing. So we would have an attribute called onClick. And on click it would run something. I think we're going to need to borrow this. Oh, you've written a function. Current prime times yeah. Would we just be able to times them together though and get the right answer? Yeah, I guess we probably can. Yeah, okay, I see. I think I see where you're going with that. I like it, I really do. I still think it's going to lock up the browser for like just too long. For the very large perfect numbers, just because we're orders of magnitude away from there. I want to have a look and see on seed.rs if they've got an example. Yeah, so can we kick something off on a click? So derive clone, key down. Windows events. That's a good point. Is it even going to record that we've clicked on something? Yeah, it must do, because the links on the left work, don't they? So there's an enum, there's a message enum called click, which, let's read this from the top. So events are created by passing listeners or vectors of listeners into element macros. Okay, so we need to pass the listener into an element macro, I guess, and this is our element here. We've got our element macro, fine. So at some point we need to generate a listener. They're created using the following functions exposed in the prelude: simple, input, keyboard, mouse, event, raw. So I'm guessing we're probably going to go with a mouse event. The first is demonstrated in the example in the quick start. Great. Oh, maybe not great. So they take two arguments. They take an event trigger, which can be I feel like there's a beginning of a sentence missing there. David, if you're watching, I think I might have found another bug with the documentation. Might just be me seeing a lowercase t and then presuming there should be a beginning of a sentence. Or to the prelude or a string. So our event, I guess, is this a listener? They're created vectors of listeners. So when it says there, so I don't know if this is an event. Let's assume it is. Okay, that's an event. Fine. I don't know if it's a listener yet. Have a look. This returns a listener. Oh, no, I'm having yeah. This is making my brain hurt, which is good, right? That's what we want. Let's start off with something simple. So can I take so that's event double click. So I assume there's probably an event click as well. And we've got a render function. I'm guessing this sits outside of everything else. So if I go back to not utils but lib. It must be something that we place just directly in the lib file. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it above render because it's relevant to render, I think. First of all, let's see if this compiles. It's probably not going to compile because we don't have a message click. Let's go back up to our message. There's somewhere. Oh no, there. That's not what we want to hide. So let's create something in here just called click because it told us to. See if we can get this to compile. 240. You can create a big uint using base 2 to the power of 32 by passing a slice of digits. So you could pre-calculate that number and just do bit shifting. So bit shifting I get because that gives us the doublings, the timesing by 2. Oh, I see. So we would, when you say pre-calculate the number, do you mean we would compile the code with the answer, or something else? Have I misunderstood? Probably misunderstood. Expected one of these. Okay. Passes the event target value field, e.g. what a user entered in input environment input, text area or select. Yeah, I feel like I don't really understand these events. Event double click. Oh, I think I understand. So you're saying we could use bit shifting to go between between each iteration. I think. Okay. That feels like that actually could be quick. So I guess that's another option. Yeah, you're right. We could still pre-calculate everything. Maybe bit shifting would be faster than the power function. Let's try that actually. Partly because I'm completely stuck with what I was trying to do, and also because you seem like you know what you're talking about. So let's get rid of format, go back to perfect. So this, let's just check before I should commit something because I changed stuff in here, right? So let me just commit this before we go changing it. Refresh this. So this we decided was a few seconds. Has it since broken? Let's move this down a bit just because I don't want to wait forever to test this. Okay, fine. Oh yeah, we added that third text, didn't we? That can go. That can definitely go. So let's go back up to the last good commit message. So now we can say now using so work in progress. I don't think we've ever used work in progress in a commit on this project. I'm not going to admit. I'm not going to say I've never done it. I've definitely used WIP before, but not on this project. WIP. No, let's not go down that route. Downloads now generated by JS. Just true. Generated by by WASM. But it's too slow, which is true. Cool. So let's try out bit shifting. That seems like an exciting activity for today. Rust bit shift. Probably just a bit shift operator, right? Look for SHR. Okay. Is that the function? The resulting type after applying the... Okay, so this is the shift right operator. Yeah, I was going to say, if we're shifting right, then that's going to make it smaller. So we want shift left. So, excuse me. I'm gonna create a second load of logic here. So we're saying shift left. Well, it recognizes it as a function. Sorry, 1 second. My voice is trying to go on me. That's not very helpful. We're saying we're going to have some value that we're going to shift left. And really it's this power thing. So let power shifted. There we go, got the end. Is going to be the resulting type after applying. I'm not really sure about this. Is this implementing a type? Sorry, that doesn't make any sense. What is this actually returning? This seems like it's returning, just checking that it still fits in the type or something. Ideally, we'd like to calculate in the browser. Oh, it does. Okay. Well, let's give that a whirl then. So power shifted, we would set up outside of this for loop. Let's give it a value of like 2. Right. Do that. Power shifted. And just for fun, let's just check it works. So how do you use the operator? Is it just Rust shift left? It has to be an I don't really understand. So that's the number of times you want to shift it. I think I understand. So if I said I wanted to shift it 1, and does it require that syntax, or can I get away without specifying the left expression? So a shorthand. An example of a shorthand. Now I feel silly. Of course, thank you. So that would be shift left by 1. So what we could do for this is, let's just first of all, just a super basic example. That's not what I expected. Yeah, let's just try that first of all. Huh. Have I just uncovered an accidental hidden compiler thing? No, it's just telling me that I've got unused dot comments and I should sort it out. What did I do wrong? So I specified, I did not clone 2. Yeah, so I just need to clone that. I reckon that'll compile. Oh, it needs to be mutable, thank you. Yep. And we use download file name twice, I guess. Could you borrow it? Sorry, I'm just going to mute this for 1 second. Now broken? No, there we go. That's probably working again. Hopefully that muted, because that was quite loud. Yeah, let's save that. This might now error. I think it probably... Oh no, it's happy with that. Okay, good. Happy with them being borrowed. So we can literally look at these and see each time the number goes up by 1, which is nice. I'm going to point out the deliberate mistake, of course, that we start off displaying the largest numbers first. That's going to make this a bit trickier. Not impossible though. Not impossible. Because we could just loop through them and save them somewhere, right? Just thought, like, some of these numbers are like megabytes. So we could end up accidentally just running out of RAM in the browser if we're not careful. I don't know what it'll do or how it's going to store these. Why did Joiner say SHR? Oh, was he suggesting that we start off with the largest number? And we compile it with the one largest number, and then... Oh, I see. That's going to be a huge number to compile. Like, vast. Yeah. We're going to be talking, like, the code size would go up by a factor of maybe 100. But this is not impossible. We could pre-calculate these. So we've got this. We could loop through the struct in reverse, I guess. We could not struct. We could reverse through this the result of this perfect function. We could reverse it, then we could do the shift thing. The other thing we could do is work this out once on the fly and then work our way backwards. But even so, I think that's going to be super slow. Yeah, what do you reckon? What do you reckon? We could. They won't. Well, you say bandwidth. What's the bandwidth being used there? Is that like memory bandwidth or between the RAM and the processor? Or the oh no, sorry, with the initial download. Yeah, we'll lose. Yeah, that would then give everyone that views the page like 10 megs, 20 megs worth of data. And the idea is that we keep this super small. Maybe this is just too much. Maybe we can't do 82 million calculations in the web browser and keep it quick. It's a lot of, and you can see, just calculate them beginning with the first number, the smallest, and you reckon just see how far we get. It's going to be 82 million shift operations. Yeah, reorder them. Okay, so we get the perfects here somewhere. Here they are. So what we want to do is take this bit of code. One operation. Oh, sorry, of course. It is just one operation, isn't it? Per number, we bit shift by the... Alright, okay, I'm genuinely excited by this now. It's just clicked for me. Thank you. This is a very good shout indeed. Oh, it's trashed all your messages again. Sorry about that. That bot is out of control. So perfect. Let's reverse it. I think it is just reverse. Is it reverse? Okay, it's reverse. So perfects.reverse. We need to remember afterwards that we want to reverse them again. Then we want to go through this. Let's tidy that up a bit. And yeah, we want to reverse when we're done. And instead of power shifting, for the first time, let's get rid of this. It's a bit easier to read. So that for the very first one, it's 2 to the power of 2. So we can say what can we say? So it's 2, and then we power shift it by P, I think. I'm going to put that in here as well. I think it'll be okay about the scope, so I might be wrong. Let's see if this is just even nearly right. There might be an extra divide by 2 or times 2 or something I have to put in, but let's see what happens. And what are we actually changing in here? Because we want to say perfects n dot, And actually there's no value in here at the moment. That's a very good point. So let's create that. So the definition of perfect. Could it just be a vector? Could just be a vector, I guess. So perfect value n equals power shifted. Let perfect value or vector, right? Literally none of those keys are right. That's what I wanted. Peak was used side, perfect value, power shifted, and we need to set the first value. So I don't think 2 actually makes sense. I think it would be 2 times 2. Two to 2 seems to be 4 to me. Yeah. The thing is, I think it will want me to convert it to... I could, you know what? I could just do this. Just start it off with the right number. All right. Then I know this isn't the full equation, by the way. I'm just seeing if we can get maybe it could be the full equation. Why not? Why not? Let's just do it. Let's try it. So wherever we've used power.clone, we would use this. Instead of perfect value, we can say shifted perfect value, because that's where it came from. And yeah. All right. Let's try this. Let's try this out. Nope, it's all blown up. Unexpected close delimiter. Whereabouts? Oh, well, this is going to be a fun game. Where's the close delimiter? Open, close. That looks fine. That looks fine. That looks fine. That looks fine. Fine, fine, fine. Line 105. 105. Oh, haha, thank you very much. Well, let me click though. 5. That looks fine. This must be to be that. Try this. Consider changing this to be mutable. Perfect. Yep, because we reverse it. And I think that was then moaning about move variable. Value moved here in previous iteration of loop. Line 90. I think this is me. What's wrong with that? Power shifted is the issue. So do I have to borrow it, then give it back? Mutable borrow occurs here. So that would be a no, Craig. You're not allowed to do that. All right. I could clone it, if that's what it takes. Feels inexpensive, but I don't know. Cheers, thank you, Pyro. I did. I think we spotted it at the same time, but you definitely would have saved me some faff. Perfect value. Move occurs because value has type big uint, which does not implement the copy trait. So I go down to 105. So I guess I need to clone these as well. There's a lot of cloning going on. Clone everything. You're a clone. You're a clone. Everyone gets a clone. Too many clones. Right, let's try that. I have no idea if that's errored. Now I have an idea. That has definitely done some erroring. So we had an index out of bounds. We really did have an index out of bounds. Probably around line 105. So this n oh yeah, so we could probably change it to be an array or something. Is it something like that? And that give like some initial values, but then because we're actually putting in, I reckon this will error for the type. I reckon the type will be wrong. Expected integer found a struct big uint. Yeah, so this needs to contain that. And an unwrap. Why didn't I copy the unwrap? It's very important. Well, the good news is it didn't immediately error or error at all. Okay, pretty cool. So let's see what we end up with. So that says 28. So that says 2016. That says 130,000. These in reverse. Something need to be reversed. Maybe perfect value needs to be reversed. This is exciting. This is genuinely exciting. This could be the very fastest way to do this. That says 6. That says 6. I was not expecting a lot of 6s. That's maybe an overflow. Ah, but it's overflowing. Something will be overflowing somewhere. That's fast. So P1 in this case contains... I mean, the good news is we can clearly generate some large numbers. The bad news is not well. So 1314 1419. that me, or does that number accidentally have the first chunk of pi in it? 3, 1, 4. No, it's just the same-ish numbers. Alright, so I feel like we're getting close now. So we've got a file name, which is great. We're shifted perfect value. Where does that come from? So that comes up here, and we're using the perfect value in the right way. We've got our brackets correct, spacing not so much. So I think that formula's still good. I think the formula's good. So therefore it's the data we're putting in. So the very first shift by p minus 1, not p. You reckon? Yes. Yeah, good point. So yeah, all right. Sound ideas. Yes, because then this would be times by 2. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. I don't know if that had a chance to refresh. Oh, maybe it was mid refreshing, and me hitting refresh was not a good idea. So these, I mean, yeah, I think we can probably agree that these top ones look like they're overflowing. Something's not quite right there, but why are these so crazy large? I feel like I haven't reversed. Get 6, and then it just blows up into a massive number. So if I look at that one, and I look at the one at the bottom, if I look at P9, that's vast. If I look at P1, that's still fairly vast, which suggests that something's overflowed and the numbers are just crazy. So let's check. So have we specified what this should be? This should be a vector containing big ins. I forget the exact syntax of that type. I think it's something like vector big uint. I think I must be pushing a shortcut. The only explanation I can think of, but it ends up copying and pasting a whole line. Okay, so that was just from my understanding, really. That's not helping. So P is of U size. So apparently it seems to be happy with U size. Power shifted ends up as, again, that's a big uint. Perfect ends up as a vector with a whole bunch of stuff. Not too worried about that. So we reverse it, so we've got the smallest one first. We set the first perfect value to 4, which on the face of it seems right. So we would expect this to be 4 times 7. So what, 28? And we end up with that instead. But I think 4 is the right initial value. But there's, okay, maybe it's not. Let's presume it's not. So isn't it P2? P to the 2. What do you mean, sorry? And actually, we should be doing something with taking away one of the P values. But What I don't understand is why that ends up such a vast number immediately. Perfect value n should start out, I mean, by the time we get all the way down to the bottom, this should be a 4. This should be a 4. Then we times 2 it, so it becomes an 8. We take 1, times those two values together, and we should get 28. So as far as I can tell, that's right. What if, after all of this, just as a double check of, don't know, double check of everything. Oh, hang on a minute. Do we start off with a... Yeah, we do. It's fine. Refresh. I feel like we are getting close with this. I'm just going to make this a bit faster so that we don't have to wait around quite so much. Huh, that says 28. So these all end up as 6. Apart from that first one that says 28. So that suggests, because I've obviously hard coded this. Should reverse it after we set this. And this is so close to working. This is so very close to working. And then pennies of bandwidth will be saved. So yeah, so this time I'm expecting the first one to say 28. What? Maybe the issue is that it doesn't really start at 0. There's not like a placeholder in there, is there? Oh, no, nor at the beginning. So those are all 6. And how can that be true? Perfect value. That's interesting. So that would say 4 times 7. Always give you 28. Alright, I am getting pretty stumped with this. Pretty confused. I think now is a very good time to take a break. Been going for 2.5 hours now, so I will give this some thought, as I always do. Thanks everyone for your help this stream, by the way. It's just definitely wouldn't have got this far without everybody chipping in and helping out, so thank you all, particularly to Pyro, Joiner, and no, I forgot your name. This is terrible. I'm just sort of scrolling up through all these deleted messages. And DeIkita97, thank you very much. Yeah. Right. I will be back a little bit later. Good day.